Ever feel like sometimes you're just speaking a totally different language
Yeah.
than everyone around you?
Oh, yeah.
Especially when the stakes are high?
Uh-huh.
Like, your best intentions just get completely lost in translation.
Oh, for sure.
You're not alone.
Yeah, it's a common.
That's why we're doing a deep dive today
It is a very...
into the world of effective interpersonal communication
It's on.
using Carl Alasko's book,
Yes.
Say This, Not That,
I love that book.
as our guide.
It's a good one.
And he's got this really cool knack for just breaking down these complex
Yeah.
communication dynamics
He does.
into practical advice that you can use in literally every aspect of your life.
I think what I really like about his approach
Mm-hmm.
is that he
Yeah.
doesn't just give you kind of like surface level tips.
Right.
He takes you deeper and explores like the biological reasons why
Yeah.
you often fumble
Yeah.
in crucial conversations.
Absolutely.
For instance, have you ever noticed how like your heart races
Oh my gosh, yeah.
and your palms get all sweaty when you sense a confrontation brewing?
Oh yeah, like my mind goes completely blank and then I end up saying things I totally regret later.
That's our primal fight or flight
Yeah.
response kicking in, right?
It is.
It's that hardwired reaction
Mm-hmm.
to perceived threats
Yeah.
flooding our system with adrenaline
Right.
and making like rational thought nearly impossible.
Oh, it's terrible.
Alasko argues that understanding this biological reality is key
Okay.
to improving our communication.
So it's like knowing your opponent in a game.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
So like once you understand how this fight or flight response works,
Uh-huh.
then you can kind of start to develop strategies to counter it.
Precisely. And that's where Alasko's 5 golden rules
Okay.
of effective communication come in.
Ooh, 5 golden rules.
They act as a framework
Okay.
for navigating any interaction,
Got it.
starting with the most fundamental, deciding what you want to accomplish
Yeah.
before you even open your mouth.
That sounds so simple, but how often do we just react impulsively
Right.
without even considering the consequences?
More often than we'd like to admit, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Rule number 2 builds on this idea,
Okay.
urging us to be concise
Okay.
and avoid unnecessary words.
So just get straight to the point.
Cut through the noise.
Yeah.
Get to the heart of the matter.
This one's a game changer, especially for someone like me who tends to over-explain everything.
Right.
You know?
Over-explaining can dilute your message or
Right.
even escalate the situation.
Totally.
Alasko's 3rd rule
Okay.
is all about avoiding
Okay.
those loaded questions
Yeah.
that are really just veiled attacks in disguise.
Oh, you mean like, why do you always leave your dishes in the sink?
Exactly.
When what you really want to say is like,
Yes,
it drives me crazy that you never clean up after yourself.
that's it.
Okay. Yeah.
Those types of questions
Yeah.
don't lead to productive conversations.
Right.
They just create defensiveness
Uh-huh.
and resentment.
Yeah, for sure.
Alasko's 4th rule hits a core principle.
Okay.
Eliminate blame
Ooh, I like that.
from your communication.
Eliminate blame.
It's tempting to point fingers
It is so tempting.
and assign blame.
This one feels particularly relevant in emotionally charged situations. You know, like a heated argument with your partner or
Right.
trying to discipline your child.
Yeah, but
Sure.
Alaska argues that
Yep.
blame is always destructive.
Okay.
It erodes trust, fuels anger,
Right.
and prevents us from finding solutions.
Okay.
Instead, he encourages
Yeah.
focusing on expressing your needs and feelings
Yeah.
without attacking the other person.
So instead of saying, you always make me late,
Right.
you might say, I feel stressed when we're running behind schedule.
Exactly.
It shifts the focus from accusation to collaboration.
Yeah. And finally, rule number 5
Okay.
emphasizes the importance of respecting the right to disengage.
Ooh, I like that.
This means recognizing
Okay.
that both parties
Mm-hmm.
can choose to step away
Yeah.
from a conversation
Right.
if things get too heated.
It's like having a safety valve to prevent those explosive arguments that can do irreparable damage
Exactly.
to relationships.
Uh-huh.
So simple, yet so powerful.
These 5 rules
Mm-hmm.
form the bedrock of Alasko's approach.
Got it.
He then takes us through
Okay.
various life scenarios,
Okay.
showing how these principles
Yeah.
can be applied to navigate
Yeah.
even the trickiest communication challenges.
Awesome.
Let's start with the
Okay.
anxiety-inducing world of dating.
Okay.
I'm curious, Have you ever felt
Yeah.
like you were putting on a performance?
Oh, totally. I think we've all been there.
Yeah.
You're trying to present this, like, perfect version of yourself,
Yes.
but it ends up just feeling so inauthentic.
That's where Alaska's advice
Yeah.
really resonates. He encourages authenticity
Okay.
and vulnerability,
Oh, I like that.
even suggesting
Yeah.
that highlighting a flaw or two
Okay.
alongside your strengths
Right.
can make you more relatable.
So it's like taking off the mask and saying, hey, I'm not perfect, but I'm genuine.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And that genuineness can be incredibly disarming
Yeah.
and appealing.
Great.
Another surprising tip Alaska offers
Okay.
is to resist the urge to rush into physical intimacy too quickly.
Oh, interesting.
He believes that
Yeah.
focusing on building emotional intimacy first
Okay.
creates a stronger foundation
That makes a lot of sense.
for a lasting relationship.
This kind of goes against the grain of a lot of dating advice out there, doesn't it?
It does.
But it makes sense when you think about the long-term picture.
Alaska is all about being intentional in
Mm.
your actions and aligning your choices
Right.
with your long-term goals.
Right. So, like, what are your goals?
Right.
What are you actually looking for?
He also encourages addressing any potential red flags early on.
So if you notice something that makes you uncomfortable,
Yes.
excessive drinking, financial instability, or even just like a gut feeling
Yeah.
that something's not right, you should bring it up directly, but calmly.
Absolutely. Sweeping those concerns under the rug will only lead to bigger problems down the road.
Right. Okay. Got it.
It's about being proactive
Uh-huh.
and setting the tone for open and honest communication
Okay.
from the start.
Right. I like that.
Now let's move from the exciting
Okay.
but often nerve-wracking world of dating
Yeah.
to the complexities of
Yeah.
long-term relationships.
This is where communication really gets put to the test, right?
It is.
You're navigating shared finances, household responsibilities, maybe even raising children together.
Alaska stresses that maintaining healthy communication
Right.
becomes even more critical
Yeah.
as the relationship evolves. He suggests that when frustration arises, you focus on
Yeah.
expressing your needs and feelings
Okay.
without resorting to blame.
So instead of saying, you never help around the house,
Right.
you might say, I feel overwhelmed with all the chores.
Yeah.
And would appreciate it if we could share the responsibility more evenly.
Exactly.
So that.
It's a subtle shift in language,
Right.
but it can have a profound impact on how your message is received.
That makes sense.
Alaska also provides a framework for
Okay.
handling those inevitable disagreements that arise in any relationship.
I'm all ears. Tell me more about this constructive conflict approach.
It's a structured approach that encourages both partners to
Okay.
express their perspectives without interruption,
Got it.
followed by working collaboratively
Okay.
to find a solution
Okay.
that meets both of your needs.
That sounds like a much healthier alternative to
Why?
those circular arguments that often just leave everyone feeling frustrated and unheard.
It's about transforming conflict from a battleground
Okay.
into an opportunity for growth
Okay.
and understanding.
Love them now.
Now, from the intricacies of adult relationships, let's
Yeah.
turn our attention to the uniquely challenging dynamic
Yeah.
of communication between parents and children.
This is a topic I'm especially interested in.
Yeah,
The parent-child relationship is so complex.
it is.
And I know I've struggled with finding the right balance between
Yeah.
setting boundaries
Uh-huh.
and nurturing open communication.
Alaska dedicates a significant portion of his book to exploring this dynamic. He recognizes
Yeah.
the inherent power imbalance
Right.
between parents and children
Yeah.
and emphasizes the importance of communicating in a way that fosters respect and trust,
Right.
even when discipline is necessary.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the things that really struck me in the parenting section
Yeah.
was Alaska's strong stance against using blame as a disciplinary tool.
Oh, yeah.
He argues that criticism, accusations,
Yeah.
punishments can damage a child's self-esteem
Uh-huh.
and create this cycle of negativity.
He emphasizes that blame shuts down communication
Right.
rather than opening it up.
Yeah.
And children who feel constantly criticized
Yeah.
are less likely to share
Yes.
their thoughts and feelings openly,
Makes sense.
which leads to a breakdown in trust and connection.
That makes perfect sense. So instead of resorting to blame,
Right.
Alaska advocates for setting clear boundaries and consequences while maintaining a calm and respectful demeanor.
It's about guiding children towards making better choices,
Yeah.
not shaming them for their mistakes.
Okay.
He also reminds parents about the power of modeling the behaviors
Okay.
they want to see in their children.
So if we're constantly yelling or resorting to sarcasm,
Yes.
our kids are likely to pick up on those same communication patterns.
Exactly. Children are like sponges, absorbing the ways we interact with the world around us.
Wow, that's a really good point.
Speaking of modeling healthy communication,
Yeah.
let's shift gears
Okay.
and talk about friendships.
Okay, I like that.
Maintaining strong friendships requires open and honest communication.
Right.
But navigating those conversations can be tricky.
Especially when it comes to addressing conflict
Yes.
or hurt feelings,
Yeah.
It's so easy to avoid those tough conversations altogether.
It is.
But I know from experience that letting resentment fester can really poison a friendship.
Alasko provides some valuable insights on this front.
Okay.
He encourages us to address issues directly,
Okay.
but calmly, focusing on expressing our own needs and feelings.
So instead of saying, you always cancel plans at the last minute,
Right.
and it makes me feel like you don't value our friendship,
Yeah.
you might say,
Yeah.
I feel hurt when our plans fall through, and I'd love to find a way to connect more consistently.
That's a great example
Yeah.
of how a subtle shift in language
Uh-huh.
can make a huge difference.
Right.
It takes the focus off blame
Yeah.
and creates space
Okay.
for a more empathetic and productive conversation.
I like that.
Alasko also reminds us
Yeah.
that sometimes the best thing we can do for a friend
Uh-huh.
is simply listen
Yeah.
without judgment.
Just being present and letting them know we care can be so powerful.
Absolutely.
Now let's move on to a realm where
Okay.
effective communication is absolutely essential for
Okay.
success.
Yes.
The workplace.
Navigating workplace dynamics
Yeah.
requires a unique set of communication skills.
Okay.
And Alasko offers a wealth of practical advice
Yeah.
in this area.
Okay.
He begins by emphasizing
Okay.
the importance of setting healthy boundaries.
What does that look like in
Yeah.
a professional context?
Yeah, it's about...
I know it's important to be assertive
Right.
and advocate for yourself,
Uh-huh.
but you also don't want to come across as confrontational or aggressive.
It's about finding that balance. Alasko encourages us to be clear about our limits.
Yeah.
Both
Mm.
in terms of our time and our emotional energy.
Right.
This might mean
Yeah.
saying no to unreasonable requests,
Yeah.
delegating tasks effectively,
Right.
or not taking negative feedback personally.
He also talks about the importance of not getting caught up in
Yeah.
office gossip or comparing yourself to your colleagues.
Right.
It's so easy to fall into those traps, but they rarely lead to anything positive.
It's crucial to remember that the workplace is a
Yeah.
professional environment,
Right.
and our communication should reflect
Right.
that. Alaska provides some excellent strategies for dealing with
Okay.
difficult colleagues.
Yes. Those are the people who can really drain your energy
They can.
and make work a lot less enjoyable.
They can.
What's his advice for handling those situations?
He encourages a strategic approach
Okay.
that involves documenting any problematic behavior
Okay.
involving a supervisor, if necessary,
Yeah.
and refusing to engage in power struggles or emotional outbursts.
Right.
It's about staying calm, professional, and focused on finding solutions.
That sounds like a much more empowering approach
It is.
than letting those difficult colleagues control the narrative
Yes.
or dictate the emotional climate.
He emphasizes that you have the right
Right.
to protect your own well-being
Yeah.
and create a positive and productive work environment
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
for yourself.
Okay.
Now, before we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I'd love to touch on the
Like that.
advanced work section of Alasko's book.
Okay.
He dives into
Oh.
some deeper concepts
Okay.
that can really elevate
Yeah.
your communication skills to a whole new level.
I'm definitely intrigued. What are some of the key takeaways from this section?
He starts by exploring
Right?
the core needs of all humans,
Okay.
which he identifies as
Okay.
security,
Mm-hmm.
connection,
Mm-hmm.
autonomy, and meaning.
So when we feel secure, connected, understood, and valued in our
Okay.
relationships,
Uh-huh.
we're able to communicate more authentically and build stronger bonds.
Precisely. And that leads into his discussion
Right.
of healthy boundaries,
Yeah.
which he argues are essential
That makes sense.
for protecting ourselves
Yeah.
and fostering respectful interactions in all aspects of our lives.
I can see how setting clear boundaries would be critical in all the areas we've discussed, from romantic relationships to friendships to workplace dynamics.
Exactly.
What else does he cover in this advanced work section?
He revisits the concept of
Okay.
constructive conflict,
Right.
providing a more detailed framework for
Yeah.
resolving disagreements, in a way that strengthens relationships rather than causing further damage.
That was a concept that really resonated with me.
Yeah.
I'd love to unpack that a bit more.
Okay.
Can you give us a brief overview of how this process works?
It involves creating a safe and structured environment
Okay.
where both parties feel heard and respected.
Okay.
Each person takes turns,
Mm-hmm.
expressing their perspective without interruption,
Got it.
focusing on their own needs and feelings
Yeah.
rather than blaming or accusing the other person.
That sounds like a powerful way to shift the dynamic from confrontation to collaboration.
The focus is on finding a solution that
Right.
works for both parties,
Right.
acknowledging that even in disagreements,
Yeah.
both people have valid perspectives
Right.
that deserve to be considered.
It's about turning those potentially destructive clashes into stepping stones
Yes.
towards stronger and more resilient relationships.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's about transforming conflict
Yeah.
from something to be feared
Right.
into something that can actually enhance our connections.
Okay. I like that. Wow, this deep dive has been incredibly eye-opening.
It have.
We've gone from the biological roots of communication breakdowns to practical strategies for navigating a whole range of challenging conversations, from first dates to difficult colleagues.
Alasko really equips us with a versatile toolkit, doesn't he?
He does. He really does.
And one of the most powerful tools he offers is this concept of the law of personal limitations.
No, that's the idea that everyone is doing the best they can with the resources they have at any given moment, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a profound shift in perspective
Yeah.
that invites compassion and understanding.
Right.
It reminds us that we're all works in progress,
Yeah.
navigating life with our own unique set of strengths, weaknesses, and blind spots.
This law seems particularly relevant when we're dealing with conflict.
It does.
It encourages us to approach those situations with less judgment
Yes.
and more empathy.
It's about recognizing that people make mistakes, that they have limitations, and that those limitations don't define their worth as human beings.
Okay.
When we can step back and see things through this lens, it becomes easier to let go of blame and focus on finding solutions.
It's about recognizing that we're all in this together, just trying to figure things out as we go.
Exactly.
Now, as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm curious, what's one key takeaway from Alasko's book that you think our listeners could apply to their lives starting today?
That's a great question. I think the most powerful takeaway is this idea that effective communication is a skill that can be learned and cultivated. It's not about being a naturally gifted communicator. It's about being willing to put in the effort to understand ourselves better, to be more mindful of our words and actions, and to practice those skills in our everyday interactions.
It's like any other skill. The more we practice, the better we become.
Absolutely.
Alasko's book is packed with
It is.
practical tips, scripts, and scenarios that can help us develop those skills and navigate the complexities of human connection.
It's like having a communication coach right in your pocket, guiding you through those challenging moments and empowering you build stronger, more fulfilling relationships.
I like that.
In all areas of your life.
If you're ready to level up your communication game and transform your relationships, I highly encourage you to check out Say This, Not That.
Yes, it's a good one.
By Carl Alasko.
Good book.
It's a deep dive that will leave you feeling empowered and equipped to navigate the beautiful messiness of human connection.
And remember, as Alasko says, the quality of your life is directly proportional to the quality of your communication.
Ooh, I like that one.
So invest in your communication skills and watch your relationships flourish.
That's a fantastic reminder to end on.
It is.
Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
Absolutely.
Into the world of effective interpersonal communication.
My pleasure.
I hope you've gained some valuable insights.
I hope so too.
And are feeling inspired to put these principles into practice.
Me too.
Happy communicating, everyone.